Question number 17. It says, assume that a hypothesis test of a given claim will be conducted. Identify the type 1 error or the type 2 error for the test. It says here, Carter Motor Company claims that its new sedan, the Libra, will average better than 23 miles per gallon in the city. Identify the type 1 error for the test. The definition of a type 1 error is as follows. Reject the null hypothesis when the null hypothesis is true. And I'm using symbolic form for the null hypothesis. So let's write out our null hypothesis. The null hypothesis states that there is no difference between a parameter and a specific value that represents a parameter. Because we're talking about averages in this case, the parameter is going to be mu. Mu equals to 23 or 23 miles per gallon. That's good, but we're going to translate this from mathematical symbols into words. So to put together the type 1 error, we're going to write the following statement. It is going to be rejecting the claim that the mean is 23 miles per gallon when it really is 23 miles per gallon. We rejected the null hypothesis when in reality the null is true. This is going to be my preferred answer. Let's make this highlighter a little bit thicker. We can write this in one other alternative way, which is not necessarily a way that I would write it in if I'm following the symbolic representation of the null hypothesis, but we can write it like this. Rejecting the claim that the mean is at most 23 miles per gallon when really it is at most 23 miles per gallon. This is another answer, but the main answer is going to be this one up here. So that is how you write your type 1 error. First thing is first, state the null hypothesis, then fill in the null hypothesis into the selected spots. And remember, you're rejecting the null hypothesis, rejecting the claim that the mean is 23 miles per gallon, but in reality, that statement is true. Really, it is 23 miles per gallon. You rejected the truth. We're now going to do question number 18. And number 18 says, a researcher claims that 62% of voters favor gun control. Identify the type 2 error for the test. So, what is a type 2 error? A type 2 error is when you do not reject the null hypothesis when the null is false. Some professors say fail to reject. Same thing. So let's write our null hypothesis. And this is for proportions. So the null hypothesis for proportions, we're going to use P. Do not confuse this P with rho. P is equal to 62%. Therefore, to write our to write our type 2 error in words, it will be the following. Failing to reject the claim that 62% of voters favor gun control. There, I fixed it. When in reality, the proportion is different from 62%. So if we fail to reject something, then we can also say that we are accepting it. We accepted the claim that 62% of voters favor gun control, but in reality, the proportion is different from 62%. If we fail to reject, we are accepting. It is a type 2 error if we're accepting false information. Therefore, this is how you write your type 2 error. It may look a little bit different than the answer key, but it follows the same type of pattern, same type of formatting. So that is it to this video. That is question 17, which was identify the type 1 error. And question 18 was to identify the type 2 error for the test. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.